This is a graph that shows you how to perform Python and JavaScript code within a Logseq graph. So this graph is called Code Execution Demo. You can download it from the link below. That will download a zip file with all the pages and settings set up for code execution. How this came about was in the Logseq forum pages, there are two pages about running code within Logseq. And shout out to Metaloid in his pages, which he actually created the technique for allowing this to happen. So basically, to give you a feel for what you could do, here's some JavaScript code, very simple, which Metaloid showed. There's a button that appears underneath the code block. This is a JavaScript code block, and you can evaluate that block above. So see, this block here is indented, and this command, evaluate parent, will evaluate the JavaScript code in that cell. So if I press that, you'll get an immediate response with a random number each time. You can clear the results here. Let's look at a Python example. Now Python is the very first time you load it, Python has to load into Logseq. It's based on the special version of Python called Pyodide, which will run within Electron and a browser. So the first time we run this, you'll see this message, prepare in Python. And now it's loaded, so it's ready, and you'll see it's actually executed. If I execute it again, you'll see it's instant. Python, once it's there, it will evaluate extremely quickly. So that's very simple examples. Here's another example. There's a command here which will evaluate all the blocks within a page, whether they're Python and JavaScript. So if I evaluate this, you'll see there's a result there for that first one, a result for the second where there's a variable that's set and there's a function that returns that variable in a string that says hi var1. This block here has picked up var1 because it's a global variable. It's picked it up and returned that it's been passed successfully from the previous block to this block. And this block here imported the sys function to bring the system version, which it prints out there. And finally, we see if variable 1 has been passed all the way through to the last block, which it has. So in this fashion, you can put together something similar to a Jupyter notebook. Now let's look at some more advanced examples. You can plot a graph. Now this will, there's a special import here, or loading a package into Pyodide, which is unusual. It's not what you'd normally do. Normally you would just do this line here in Python, but with Pyodide you have to preload some of these packages. So that's loaded matplotlib as PLT, and it's put the title, the X label, and a grid. It's got some data to plot, and this last section, which Metaloid developed, very neat. He takes the plot and saves it in a PNG format, and creates a temporary image and closes it, and that image lives in the PNG variable. And because PNG is the very last variable, it will be rendered as is evaluation. Now first time matplotlib has to load, it takes a little while to run. Takes quite a few seconds the first time. Once that's run and loaded, we get a graph. Now if I clear that and do it a second time, you'll see it's much faster because matplotlib has been loaded. So this is a technique for showing graphs. Here's a Pandas data frame example. Again, we've had to load matplotlib and Pandas, and we've also got NumPy in there, which comes pre-packaged with Python anyway, so you don't need to do the await load package. Here's a data frame with the various mountains in Scotland. There's a horizontal bar plot, Scottish Hills, same technique for saving the output to a PNG. Now, here is the result. Again, you'll see if we run that again, it's almost instant. So that's some more advanced examples. You can execute Python and JavaScript on the same page. So here there's some JavaScript, some Python, some more JavaScript, Python, and you can update logseq.run. There's in JS, when you've imported JS.logseq can run. That variable there can be referred to in the Python code. So if we run this page, you'll see that it's gone all the way through to the alert at the end. And an interesting note there, you can also run the R language with this same technique. I don't know that language, so I haven't put any examples in here yet. So here's an example of a Jupyter-like behaviour. In this this code block here, I'm loading a database with a couple of clients in. There's a dictionary. When it's finished, that function, it returns database loaded. So by just putting the function name there, database loaded will show up as a message, which it does. So that data dictionary is loaded. In this code block here, the data dictionary, which is global, is referred to here and here. Here. And there's also another global which I've set up here in the get client record. Here it is, global output. So I'm outputting the result of get a client record into the global output variable. So if I run this, you can see that it's tried to look up one and said that's a fail, and the second one it's looked up and passed. So in this way you can set up, a Jupyter-like behaviour within Logseq. And we'll look at another one. You can run another page. In this case, I'm running a page. Sorry, I'm running this page. And this page does a similar sort of thing. It runs the previous test I showed you. So if this will run the whole page, and it loaded the database, and it got it loaded the database. It showed me the bad name lookup, and the XYZ company passed. So that's another way you can do it. You can put all the blocks in and have a run page at the top of the page. Another option is you can run a function on another page. So in this case, I've got a page called Python sample 1. If that's here, I'll show you that. Let's look it up. Python sample 1, which just says it has a JavaScript block with an alert and a message. So there's actually JavaScript and Python code on that page. Probably badly named, calling it Python sample 1, but nevertheless, this will run that page, which should give us an alert and also a Logseq show message. So there's the alert, and there's the show message. So these, you can do a hell of a lot with this. I've also put in here, I've been testing API calls, which allow you to access pages and blocks within Logseq. There are a lot of tests here. First thing you need to do to run these, there are some functions here that I use in the testing. So they need to be, you might have to expand this. You have to evaluate that so that it's remembered on the page, and you also have to evaluate that helper function. So once the helper functions are enabled, then there are various routines that you can use. Here's some code that shows messages. I might just open all these blocks, TO. This will show a couple of messages. Here we go. So you can see how you do that. These you're calling the Logseq API. These are all found in the file Logseq closure API.clgs. That's the closure code, but you can call them from JavaScript, and therefore using JS import, you can execute them from Python. This routine will show you output on the console. So I'm on a Mac. I'm pressing Control-Alt-I, and I'll get rid of the left panel. All right, that's better. Now on this side, this is the internal console within Logseq. So you can show output on the console. I'll clear it, clear console. I'll right click to do that. And here we press the evaluate, and you can see output from Python. So you can use the console to get output. I might deliberately break this, put a function that's not known in, and when I execute that, you'll see you get an error. But if you look roughly around the middle somewhere, you'll find the Python message. Here it is. Name XYZ is not defined, and it tells you the line. It tells you a line number, but it's actually the one below it. But that will help you debug. So once I fix that and clear this again, let's clear these messages. If I evaluate that again, it's working. So you can display you can display your output of your Python code in this fashion. I've got another page called execution log. I'll get rid of this console log here. And this page, get rid of contents. This page, execution log, is somewhere you can put output to. So this first block here is you have to create the page. So you do that with a create page. when you do it, if the page doesn't exist, it will actually take you to that page. In my case, it does exist, so it just says done. The second step to send the output to the page is you use the helper function I've got, log output, which will basically send the message to the log, and it will clear the log. It means the execution log page will be blanked out and output will be logged to it. The output page I've forced to lowercase. It's one of the peculiarities of you can't use the uppercase version. Okay. Here's a call to get page, which is a Logseq function. So that gets the execution page. And then I've got another convenience here. You can open it in the right sidebar. So once I've got page, I can get the page UUID, which is a unique ID of the page. And if I evaluate that, you'll see it's pushed the execution log into the right-hand page. The log output function sticks a timestamp on it, and so you can change that to whatever you want to do. But that's handy because, I could, for example, if I want to log something else, let's say the result of a formula. So I might say 3 times 4. See what that does. And there's the answer there, 12. So the execution log itself, you can sort of drag it across because it's in the right panel and see the timestamps in order more clearly. So that's a handy little helper function. Then I've got all of the core API, the application and the editor calls. There are some other areas as well. That's an important one, the database for queries. Search, UI, and then the assets and experiments and templates are other interfaces. But where I think it's not that important, you're probably not likely to use it. I've put a tag on it called API Call Ignore. The core APIs are get app information, so that will provide the version number of Logseq. This will get the current graph objects. You'll see these are basically sort of property names. Probably also you'll see the same output on the console as well, because this routine props puts the information in the log and alerts you as well. So that's handy for sort of examining objects. All of these, where it's got API call OK, you can run the code evaluation and see the result. So these are the core API, and there's not many of them. The app itself, there are various routines there. There's, I don't know why that one's not there, but you can invoke an external command. I haven't actually used that one yet. I should put a tag on that. API call untested. This one here will open an external link, so I'll open the Google, which opens up in Firefox. So all of these I've tested and I believe they all work. I won't do that one, it will quit the app. You can relaunch. You can set the left sidebar visible or not. It's a toggle, same in the set right. Now the ones you'll probably use more than any other will be editor and database and search. In the editor, you can do things like a pen block. Not sure what that one is for, but you can create a page. You can delete a page. You can edit a block, but I'm not sure about that one. There's an update block, which is further down, which works properly. There's some of these I just can't get into, but the important ones I can. You can get all the pages. So I'll run this one. You can see there's all the pages output. You can get a block. So here's a block here. It's got a hidden. I've put an ID attribute on it to force it to a fixed ID, and that will get the property of that block. You can see the content is I'm a block with a hidden fixed ID, so it's this block here. The next one, you can get block properties. So there's the two properties. You can also see there's I've forced an ID in there as well. What's the difference? Click properties. This is getting a specific property. So in this case, we're getting the property, and you can't see it. It's over here, prop2 from a block, and it has a value of block property 2, which is that one there. You can get the current block. It's pretty straightforward. Get the current page. There's all the page properties. You can get current page blocks tree, which shows all of the blocks for that page. I haven't really done much with those, but it does get them. Not sure what that one's for, or that one. This one, you can get the next sibling in a block, or the previous sibling is further down. That works. Get page. So in this case, there's the Python sample page. You'll notice the page has a lowercase name there, but the original name's the original capitalisation. You can get the linked preferences for a page. This one's called from the code execution demo page. Get pages from a namespace. So I've got a couple of pages in namespace 1. So it gets those. You can see those there. This does a similar thing. Get tree from namespace seems to do a similar thing. I'm not quite sure why there's two routines that do that. Get the previous sibling. So that gets a previous sibling in this block UID here. Get selected blocks. If I select this block here, and then I execute get selected blocks, it does return those blocks. If I haven't got anything selected, it doesn't return anything. Not sure about that one or that one. Insert block, I'm still trying to work out how to get the options passed through to the API, so I haven't yet managed to get that one working. Move a block I just haven't tested yet, or new block. Open and right sidebar we used earlier. Prepend a block, I've got it. It does prepend a block, but it seems to append it to the end of the page and not put it as the first block of the page. So that's why it's tagged as not okay. Remove a block works. Remove block property works. Rename page doesn't seem to do anything. That's ignored. It's ignored. Update block's an important one. So you get the block, put the new content in, and update the block. So I'll demonstrate that. I've just got to find out where I've used it. I think it's in get block. So if I go to the get block function up here, get block, yeah, it's that one. So I'm going to back down here. I'm going to update the block with I am a new first line. So that's done. And if I go back to get block, I am a new first line. That's the block that actually has got the fixed ID. So it's a new first line within that block. I'll get rid of that there. Okay, and we go back down to update block. And upsert block will pop a property into a block. So the same block, I can add property A. If I run that and I go back to get block, you'll see get block has put property A in that block for me. So I'll get rid of that again because I'm using that block for testing purposes. So that's all of the API editor calls. So I'll close off some of these so we can make sense of what's going on. So that's the come back down. It's a bit slow opening because there's a lot of stuff in this page. So that's the editor. Now the database, here's a custom query. You'd normally write this as query task to do. That's how you'd normally write it, but you only take this portion, this portion of it. So I might put a comment there so that it's more obvious. So if I run that query, it'll show me all the to-dos, that are in the system. So it's getting the blocks with the to-dos and displaying the content. Obviously, you can do a lot with that. You can filter it and all that sort of thing. This is an advanced query that what does it do? It looks for a page name called contents, and for some reason it's not working. Let's have a quick look. What doesn't it like? Here we go, down the bottom, somewhere around the middle. Syntax error on line 5. Line 5. Okay. What doesn't it like? Let's try it again. That time it worked. So there was some funny sort of space in there. This is another one that finds all the to-dos. So that's an advanced query running there, returning all the blocks. Let's get out of this. Close these up. You can download all your graph pages. That's very easy. Just you run it, and it'll come up with a window to say where to save it. So that's straightforward. Here's another simple way to run a query. I think these is similar to the one above. finds all the to-dos. And here's the search. So you can put a search string in. It's got a bit of a funny format when it comes back. You have to translate the blocks that it comes back with as a map, and then output the map values. So you'll see that it returns a block UUID, the content, and the block page, but you have to use this way of deconstructing the result of the search. So there's a couple of other things. I'll just put up the left-hand page. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Get out of that. TL, that's better. There's also a page that gives you the test status. So there's just a query that shows which API calls have worked, which ones have failed, or I just can't get them to work, or I haven't tested it. Which ones aren't tested? There's a few there. The main one I think I want to get the handle on is insert block, and the API calls I think are pretty irrelevant really for what you want to do with code execution in general. So I'll go back to the main page. So that's this graph. There's a couple of test pages that do it. But how did I set all this up? Here's the instructions, and I'll run through quickly how it's set up. There's the config.edn has to have this. Just get rid of this right panel because it's annoying me. TR. This code here has to go in this setting. So in your settings, edit config edn. If you go right down the bottom, in this macro section here, between these two curly brackets are these 4 lines. So that's the first thing you have to do. That adds the buttons that you can execute code with. You add this into your CSS. Little word of warning, there might be somebody, or you might have a theme or something that's got a CSS that's got buttons already set. So this might clash with that. It's never clashed with the two themes that I use, and it certainly doesn't clash with the standard CSS. So you might have to experiment with that, but it's worked first time for me every time. And then the last thing is this file here has to be placed inside your Logseq folder of your graph as a file called custom.js. Now when you add this file, it will give you a warning the first time it detects it in your Logseq folder. Remember, the folders within your graph are journals, pages, and Logseq file, which is sort of special area, and Logseq folder. And there is also, I think, a whiteboards folder as well. So the custom.js is your custom code. In this case, this is the code that Matt Lloyd developed that works really well. You don't need to really go into what it does or why it does it. You just add that custom.js file into your Logseq folder. Now I'll find code execution demo. This is the folder of the graph, and inside the Logseq you'll see the custom CSS, and there's also that's the custom CSS there. Don't get confused if you see stuff in the back file. That's just backup folder. It's this file here custom.js is the one that you have to add. So once you've got all those three elements in your graph, you just close it, open it again, and you've got code execution. It's as easy as that. So all the best with it. There are so many possibilities with this. I've started a little page somewhere of things that you can do. Let's see, where are we? Yep, there's a page called Ideas. You can obviously, because you can access Python, you can go and grab stuff from websites. You could put GPT in there. You could do a little accounting system for yourself. There are just so many possibilities. The fact that you can create a page and put content in it, you can create reports for yourself with code. So there's just so many things, and the beauty of this is it runs for me on my Mac, and it also runs on Android. I suspect it will run on Windows. I haven't been able to test it, but you don't need plugins. It runs fine if you've got plugins on the desktop, but the advantage is you should be able to run this on an Android tablet at a minimum. Don't know whether this will work with iOS. Remains to be seen. Anyway, good luck and happy log seeking, and I'll talk to you further down the log.